Cade, according to Pro Football Focus, you won 79% of your 1v1s at the Senior Bowl. That was the most of any receiver in Mobile. What was that experience like, and how pleased were you with your performance?
Yeah, it was a great experience. Just with having my season canceled this year, it was a little tougher for me. Just to have the same advantage as some of the other guys as they were playing a season and stuff like that. So I just really wanted to come in and be myself and play football like I know how to play. So I mean, it was really it was a great experience for me just to be able to go and compete with some of the best in this year's draft class. And I was really pleased with myself, but I know the work's never done, and I'm excited to just for my next opportunity wherever it's at. So.
And it was a great example, wasn't it, that whether you were a player who had a season cancelled like yourself, or if you were a player that opted out, there was no real rust there, was there? From the Senior Bowl, there was no evidence of, well, this player hasn't played in such a long time. They've regressed as a player.
Yeah, Jim Nagy and the Senior Bowl staff, they're just really good at evaluating talent. And I mean, if you're invited to that bowl game, you're legit. So I mean, it only took just the warm up for that day and me to get my feet under me for just that rust, if there was any, to just come right off. And it's kind of like riding a bike. You're a football player. This is like what I do, and I'm trying to do it for a living. So like, I hope that I'm naturally just good at doing it. So yeah, it was not too difficult for me.
What's the secret to a great release?
I think you got to play to your advantage. I mean, everyone has skill sets of themselves, and I'm a smaller guy. I like to think I'm physical, and I like to be physical, but my best attribute is my quick twitch. And so for me personally, I would just say quick twitch off the line, and using your speed to your advantage. So I make sure that I'm always going 100%. And some releases you can release a little bit slower, but as long as like I'm trying to do everything in my ability to create that separation at the line, that's huge for my game. So yeah.
You've had some really good guidance in this pre-draft process so far. Am I right in saying that you've been coached by TJ Hoshmanzada? Is that correct?
Yep.
And what was that like? Because he played at a high level for a long time.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. I mean, just to have somebody like that like in my corner, and he's given me all like the little pointers here that, I mean, just coming up in a draft process, you're not going to hear from a lot of different people. And TJ was really successful in the league. His story is unbelievable, and I'm all ears when I'm around him, and he's hard on me, and I'm happy he is. And just having guys like Jordan Palmer as well, Carson Palmer's little brother, he has the QB Summit down here, and we're able to train with those guys too. So it's just a great experience to have those two, and just learning from the best in the game.
So have you had an opportunity then, if Jordan's working with some of the quarterbacks that he works with, do you provide a receiving service for the drills that they're trying to do?
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. When we go there every morning, or every I want to say Tuesday and Friday morning, and then he's got like the Trevor Lawrence and Brady White and Shane Buechele and a lot of like good talented quarterbacks. So just running routes with them and getting them full speed. I mean, that also helped me before going to the Senior Bowl. It's just like getting reps like on air and stuff like that. So that was another big part of my progression just within this off season. So
You caught a pass from Trevor Lawrence?
I actually haven't, because he was at his so he didn't make it out to California until, I want to say it was the week I was traveling down to Mobile, and then he was here for a week before his pro day, and now he's dealing with some other stuff. So yeah, I've met him. He's down here right now, but I haven't been able to catch from him. No.
Is it true that are you friends with Noah Fant as well?
Yeah, I was actually literally 30 minutes ago just with Noah. Noah's one of my best buds. We're from Omaha, Nebraska, so we grew up together, and we played AAU basketball in high school together for 3 years. And so Noah's been, my really good friend just for a long time, and just to see his progression and where he's made it and continues to go is really cool.
So is he petitioning the Broncos then to get you to go to Denver?
I mean, he's mentioned it a couple times, but I think just the fact that both of us are from, a town and a city where just not a lot of people make it to professional football, and I think we just understand the stage that we're at, and it's just going to be surreal. If I get drafted to the Broncos or if we play them, I mean, that's just going to be like a dream come true.
Now, you mentioned basketball. Was that your first love? Is that correct? And am I right in saying there may have been a point when you thought, I'm going to go the basketball route rather than football?
Yeah. So I actually quit football after my 7th grade year to just play year-round basketball. Like, I really thought that basketball was going to be what I did in college, and then in the future, however far I could take it, was what I was going to do. But just getting back into football my sophomore year of high school, I just fell in love with it again. But yeah, you're exactly right when you say that basketball was my first love. I've always been the runt of the family, and basketball is not as physical as football. And so that's just what I was doing when I was younger. But, just finding that love and the passion for the game in high school again was big for me.
Now, I just find this really interesting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of share the screen and play some of your Senior Bowl tape in a second, just a couple of minutes of it, so people can see what you're about. But the basketball side of things, and when I'm like watching you play, and I'm sort of watching the way that you move and the way that you're catching passes on the sideline, and now you're saying that you're good at basketball as well. It just all reminds me so much of Tyler Lockett, who is also a very good basketball player. Is that a comparison that you like? Is that a player that you've spent any time looking at all? Because you seem very similar.
Yeah, I actually love that comparison. I met Tyler. I want to say it was my junior year of high school. He came down to Omaha for like the Jet Awards. It's like the top returner in the country for college, and he won it that year. And I love that comparison. I mean, Tyler came in the league as a special team. We're signed to the same agency, so he's signed to Athletes First, and I'm signed to Athletes First. So I took into consideration a lot of the guys that have dealt with in the past, and different guys that are similar to me. And I love the Tyler Lockett comparison. I mean, he's a game changer, and he's not the biggest, not the biggest one on the field, but he's always plays with the most heart. And I just love that from him, just meeting him at a young age and seeing where he's came from when he first entered the league into being a special teams guy. And now he's had a great year for the Seahawks, and I just love watching him play, and I watch a lot of his film.
If you don't mind me saying, there would be it'd be an easy assumption to make that a player who has gone to South Dakota State, maybe doesn't mingle with a lot of NFL players, or maybe doesn't have I'd say almost say like this very mature personality about taking the next level. You seem completely ready and prepared for what is coming in the next sort of, well, I guess 6 months as you prepare to go into a training camp for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, luckily for me, I've just been put in the position where I got a lot of really good people in my corner. My dad played for the 94-95 Huskers. He won 2 national championships. So just growing up, he had a lot of guys that were his friends that played in the league. And then, my older brother played with Josh Allen at Wyoming, and they're good friends. And I was able to talk to Josh a couple weeks ago, just face to face. And then a lot of his good friends are in the league as well from Wyoming. And then just having Noah and a bunch of other guys. And then just being in my agency, Athletes First, not having a season, I've been able to be in California since November. So, I mean, just getting this pre-draft process and coming down here and learning what it needs to take. And I just know that this is just the beginning, right? And my work is far from over or far from finished. If anything, it's just beginning. So I'm super excited to just be able to put in the work and do what I love on a day-to-day basis. So I'm just going to ride with it and do it for as long as I can.
Well, let's have a look at some of this Senior Bowl tape. I just wondered, because it was so good, have you watched this? I mean, I'm just talking from personal experience here. If I'd put these kind of highlights out and they were on YouTube, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've got 10 minutes. I'll go and have a look at that again. I mean, do you watch any of this stuff back?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool because when we got with the Dolphins, we all got in like a big room, just like with Nico Collins and Des Fitzpatrick, you got Dwayne Eskridge, and all those guys just coming back, and everybody was giving each other pointers and just watching each other's routes and things like that. So it was really cool to just be able to sit down and watch that. And I can't say I haven't seen it a couple times. I'm a big student of the game too, and I love watching film. So
I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about, what is key here. I think this is against Ambry Thomas. You can see a
yeah,
Michigan helmet there. I mean, he's
me
a
and me
really
and
good
Ambry,
corner. He's
yeah.
not. He's a player that I spent a lot of time watching from his 2019 stuff, and he's not easy to beat. I mean, at Michigan, he won a lot of battles, but
Yeah, me and Ambry, I mean, I met Ambry down in Mobile, and he's a really cool guy. I always try to get the defender's hips flipped, and whenever his hips get flipped, I love to just burst through separation, and that's been a big emphasis in what I've been working on with TJ down here in California. So just whatever advantage within my quick twitch and any different head movements and stuff like that. Like I like to move my head a lot to keep the DB, guessing where I'm going. So that's really big for me.
Now, I just imagine when so you line up in the slot in the NFL. You've got a safety or a linebacker on you. Teams are going to love this idea, aren't they? I mean, that is wide open.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite routes, the sail route. I mean, I've been able to master that in college, and running it at full speed and being able to move like that when you're going 100% is pretty deadly. So,
and just the footwork, and you seem like a very sudden athlete. I mean, it's hard for a safety, isn't it, to lock down a route like that?
Oh yeah, especially too like the safeties nowadays. They're getting a lot bigger, and they're able to move. So whenever you can just keep them guessing and on the go like that, it's really hard to guard.
Now, I wanted to pause this here because I think this is the play that kind of reminds me of Tyler Lockett a lot, because this is that kind of improbable, Russell Wilson stalk. He's flushed out the pocket. He kind of heaves one down the sideline.
Exactly.
Tyler Lockett's got no chance of catching it, but then that happens. And I tried to slow it down enough so people could see 1 foot, 2 foot, both feet in, secure all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
That's
my boy.
reception.
That's my boy Christian Uphoff. He's from the Valley too, Missouri Valley, and down there on the field, he was saying that's not a catch, and I was like, Christian, wait until we bring this huddle highlight back, and then we saw it the next day, and he was just like, you caught it, and I was like, yep.
I mean, the window there. I mean, that it has to be a good throw. It has to be right on the spot. But can you just sort of tell us, because people like me just watch this happen on a YouTube video or on the TV during the college or the NFL season, and we can sit here and go, what a great catch. But the concentration, the hands, knowing where your feet are, because you've got to get 2 feet in the NFL, completing the catch. I can imagine when you've got all of your body sort of contorted, the landing's probably, if you land wrong, it could hurt, and the ball comes out. What is that moment like when you're getting all those parts of your body and your mind connected to complete a reception like that?
Yeah, to me, like, it's really like secondhand nature, and like more repetition you can do and practice that kind of stuff. Like even on air, like I try, when I'm running routes on air, no defenders, just me and the quarterback. You want to build the reputation of catching everything and making sure you get your feet in bounds and things like that. And then when you get into the game, it's like there's just a defender there. Like it's the same thing. There's just a defender. So a lot of that just comes naturally, and like sometimes I don't even realize how I do some of the things I do, but like it's just it turns into second nature, and concentration, and making sure that you catch the ball through the point before you do anything else. Because a lot of guys, they want to try to catch it and make a move, but I mean, you always got to secure the catch first.
I love the pro move as well here. Just a little, just keep that. You're not pushing off.
Yeah,
you've
exactly.
just done enough. No one's going to flag that.
Yeah,
it maybe just gives you that extra inch or two that you need to get the catch.
Exactly.
Just a really good play. I must have watched that one a few times earlier today. Just a few more reps. I mean, it was all good, really. I mean, like I said, PFF said you were the highest performer. There's a couple of reps here where the defensive back ends up on the turf because Like, he's clinging on. He's
Yeah.
I need I'll give the flag away. It doesn't matter. I'd rather that than the touchdown, I guess. And then again
Yeah.
here, they've you see the flags come out on this one.
Yeah.
The clinging on. I mean, how do you feel about I imagine there's a lot of frustration actually when you beat a defender and they kind of just pull you back and I'll take the penalty instead of letting you get the big catch there.
Yeah. So like in college, it happened to me a lot. And then it just came to a point where I was making the play like through a lot of the contact and stuff like that. There was like 3 or 4 touchdowns my senior year where I was just making the catch and it was still pass interference. So it was pretty crazy.
I had to stop for this one because this is another one of those just majestic catches, one-handed. It's like, what else do you need to show, Cade? This Senior Bowl, you're beating everybody inside out. You're winning down the sideline. You're winning in the slot. You've got that catch by the sideline. Well, let's just throw in a one-handed catch with him all over you. It's pass interference, and I'll just reach my arm out there and get a one-handed catch for a touchdown as well. Jersey's hanging off your shoulder pad.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
That's a great feeling. I had a catch like that too, just in the game, and I'm dominant with my right hand. I don't know what it is about my left, but it was naturally, it felt good. So
then there's one more play, and it's a little red zone play here. And again, you need to be able to do everything, don't you? I mean, look, no one's going to mistake you for Calvin Johnson, are they? But
exactly.
or DK Metcalf, but you still got to be able to win in the red zone. You've got to find your way, haven't you? And this is it. Just enough separation there, right in the back of the end zone. Throws on the money. Hands, you've caught it with your hands out as well. It's not coming into your body, is it? You're not letting it get into your frame. I mean, how important is that? Cupping those hands, bringing it in.
Yeah, that's huge because like your hands are the most reliable thing as a receiver. Like when you're catching it with your body, it's 50-50. It could bounce off your pads the wrong way, but your hands are everything. And just even the way you flash your hands and are able to have them, like there's just different, ways to catch the ball and just knowing those techniques and stuff like that. So.
And there, I think that's a great shot there. And it just shows it, doesn't it? Catching away from the body, hands in perfect position. Maybe not the perfect, I mean, not a bad throw by any stretch, but you are you're leaning back a little bit there. So it's not the easiest play to make, but just an incredible session there at the Senior Bowl and just great to be able to show what you're all about. I mean, no combine. How frustrating is that? I've talked to many prospects now who are in this draft, and they all kind of share the same thing, Cade, which is I've watched this thing for years. I've watched people run in the 40 and dreamt of my time to do it. Is it really disappointing that it's your year when none of that's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, just getting my combine invite this year was bittersweet feeling. It's just like, just growing up and watching, that whole week of just being in Indy and stuff like that. And I just knew my time was coming one day, and just to not have it this year. I mean, I know that there's a plan and that, everything's going to work itself out, but, it's definitely a little disappointing. But, everything works itself out for a reason. And I'm just happy that Jim Nagy was able to do a great week at the Senior Bowl, like getting the test out and just being successful in that part. And I think that gives you, a little plus to a lot of, guys who didn't get that experience. And I'm grateful for that just in itself.
Are you having a pro day?
I am. My pro day is the 26th of March, and it is at my, South Dakota State. So I'm excited to go back down there, and scouts are confirming every day. So it's just a good feeling to just be able to go back to, where I'm comfortable playing and a turf that I've ran on before. So I'm excited for that.
And finally, what are your aims and ambitions for the NFL?
Just to be a reliable player. I mean, whatever team's getting me is getting, a hungry guy who's willing to step in there and make plays on special teams whenever the offense needs me. Just come in and be a reliable source wherever it be on the field. And, I'm excited for the opportunity, and, you only get one crack at this thing. So you got to give it your all from day one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, okay. The only disappointing thing is that you can't play for 32 teams at the next level. Because I'm sure as people get to know you and they see your tape, they are going to want you on their team. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Have a great career and the best of luck with this draft process.
Thanks for having me, sir. Appreciate you.